Hi guys, welcome back. Here today I am doing number 2 in my series on DIY postcards. I am really enjoying filming this series. It has been so much fun. Today we are making collage postcards. So I have got just an A4 piece of white kind of cardstock, and I am collaging my paper scraps all over the top. This piece that I stuck down probably wasn't the best to use this sort of glue with, because as you can see the marks that I had made all over it were smearing, but that's okay. It works out fine in the end, but I can see that it looks very sort of smudgy and kind of weird at the moment. But I do collage over quite a lot of it and just add lots of different paper layers. This is a printable that I'm tearing up right now from Tanya Leigh Designz. It's a really beautiful printable that she sent me and I absolutely love it. So I'll link that below if I can find that one. I am just, as I said, layering down paper scraps onto this piece of cardstock. This is, like I said, this is a series I'm doing about postcards. If you haven't seen video number 1 already, I will link that in the description. This is number 2, so there are a few more episodes of this series, I guess, to go. So keep your eyes out, and if you're enjoying this series, please subscribe. That would be super appreciated. I have a lot of people who watch my videos who are not subscribed, so if you are enjoying it, I would really appreciate that, because it does actually really help my channel a lot if you subscribe, so that would be really appreciated. So like I said, laying down the paper scraps and making a big sort of messy collage of papers all over the place. To stick all my papers down, I am using some Mod Podge matte medium. I think it's called matte medium. It's whatever the matte Mod Podge is anyway. And I am just using that to stick it all down, and I'm going over the top of all of it as well, really getting it stuck on nice and firmly. Because these are becoming postcards and they're going to be sent in the mail, I really do want them to be stuck down pretty well, so that it can hold up to all of the, bumping around that happens in the postal system. This little scrap of paper here is actually the back of a colouring in page that I'd done. I like to print off random colouring pages sometimes onto just regular copy paper, and then use my alcohol pens, the alcohol based markers that I have, that I just get from a cheap $2 shop, but they seep through really quite a lot, as you can see, so that you can see all the pattern on the back but you don't get the black lines. And I like to use them as collage elements. I like tearing them up after I've coloured them. The colouring's really relaxing, and then after I'm done with it, I have something to do with it. I don't just throw it away because I'm finished colouring that piece. I tear them up and I use the back part as my collage paper. So that's a little tip if you enjoy colouring but don't know what to do with just the printed off colouring pages that you've completed. Use them as collage fodder. It's really good for that. I actually filmed this all this morning, and I was super lucky because it is a Monday. I normally would be at work today, but we are having a really bad storm here in New Zealand, well, in Canterbury, New Zealand, and schools have all been closed because the storm is so bad. So I am at home having an extra day to create a long weekend, which is super nice. And I got to watch, which you might be able to see on the corner of my phone over to the left there, I was watching Essie Ruth Makes Live, which was super fun. I normally miss her lives because they're on a Monday and normally I'm at work, but it was really nice to be able to join in and watch the live today. It was so good. I really enjoyed the spread that she made, so if the replay is up on her YouTube channel, I'll also link that, because that was really fun to participate in. As you can see, I got glue all over my hand and just used a wipe. I keep wipes on my desk because I just know that I always get sticky and I can't go to the bathroom every 2 minutes to wash my hands. I'm adding some glitter paint that I have here. It doesn't have any colour to it, it just has the glitter. I'm adding that all over it because I like that little bit of magical sparkle that it adds to my postcards, having that glitter all stuck down all over the paper. So that I really like that, and definitely recommend using it if you've got it because it is super fun. Now it's time to form these into postcards. So I'm just trimming off the excess that you can see around the edge and making sure my space is clear enough. Now I'm going to get out my cutter. So I have a big Fiskars cutter, which I've had just for a bazillion years. And I'm going to cut it down into 4 kind of A6 sized postcards, roughly though. I'm not a measuring sort of person. I just cut them down to roughly quarters. They are not even, but they're close enough, and I am fine with the sizes that they turn out being. So there you go, you can see 2 postcards done, and now the other 2 will be done just now. So you could absolutely leave your postcards at this point. They look really fun, really awesome, just as they are, but I do go ahead and add just a little bit more to them, just because I felt like it. You really could just leave them at this point and they would be just as cool. So don't feel any pressure to continue from this point if you don't want to, but I am going ahead and on the back I am adding some paint because I wanted the backs of my postcards to look a little bit funky as well. I like adding paint to the back of my postcards. I do that quite a lot. I'm just adding a different colour to the back of each of the different postcards. So I'm just sort of looking at the front and then choosing a colour that I think will work well kind of with that, and just adding that colour on the back of them because I do like how that looks, and I have found that pen does write over it pretty fine. It probably depends on the type of paint you're using, but the paints that I have, pen seems to write over it fine once it's really dry. So I like having that bit of colour there. Normally the back of postcards are divided up into the writing section and the address section. I love to do that as messily as possible with a colouring pencil. That seems to be my preference for dividing up the back of my postcard. I really like using just a colouring pencil and holding it really loosely and just creating a random sort of squiggly shape on the back. Now it is time to decorate these even further on the front. So I have just pulled out a whole bunch of magazine clippings here. I keep them in that red folder that I showed you that's off to the right there. I keep all my magazine clippings in there. So I am just going through this little pile that I've pulled out and creating some focal points for my postcards really. So this one here I'm doing a little sort of tennis themed postcard. I'm sure that these little rackets are probably for badminton and not tennis, but I feel like it works anyway. So I had this phrase that said anyone for tennis that I'd cut out and I've had for absolutely ages. So I thought I would just trim that down to make it a bit slimmer, and I am going to cut it between the 4 and the tennis because it was too long for my postcard, and have them sort of stacked like that. I'm just fiddling around with how I want the composition of this postcard to be, and I settle on it being pretty well like it is right now. So I'm just going to go ahead and glue those down. I really like when my images interact with the edge of the postcards or tip-ins or whatever I'm making, but in this case postcards. So I like to have things that kind of overhang a little bit so I can trim off the edge, and I don't know, somehow I just feel like it makes it look more intentional and less just stuck down on at the end. So I like to have things hang over just a little bit. This sticker was just floating around on my desk at the time, so I just decided I would add it on to this postcard too. I like how it looks, just sort of adding a little bit more visual interest to the background kind of the postcard. So and once again, it's giving that interaction with the edges of the postcards look that I like. So I'm just sticking that racket down, and that one is almost finished. So the focal points are done. I do come back in after all of these focal points are stuck down with some paint and a pastel, just to give it a little bit more texture and just some more colour. Sticking down this final piece, and that is postcard number 2. All the focal images on that complete, looking good. I definitely struggled with this one a little more. I think because I was very foolish, and when I was drawing the lines on the back of the postcards, I did not look at the patterns and figure out that I had it upside down. So you can see those little horses, the pattern of those horses there on the left hand side is upside down on this postcard because I was a ninny, and so I knew I kind of wanted to cover them up so that they were a bit more background and you couldn't really tell so much that I had them upside down. So I did end up finding these quite large pieces that did cover a lot of the postcard, which was good. You will see that I made that mistake on a few different postcards. It was postcard number 2, the butterflies are upside down, which that's less of a bother, I think, than those horses being upside down. But oh well, that's just me not being careful, which is very typical me. Here I have again got these pieces out, and I have trimmed around the word beautiful to stick down, and I found all of these lovely bits to glue on, and I really like how all of these postcards have turned out. Actually, I am pretty pleased with them. This is where we get our paint back out. So I am grabbing it back out and just adding a few little dots of colour here and there. I noticed that there had been a bit of the smudging from when I had painted the back, had sort of seeped around to the edge and to the front a little bit. I guess I probably just was not very careful when I was painting the back not to move the postcard and drag it through any extra paint. I honestly don't really mind if the paint gets on the front. I like adding a bit of mixed media element to my postcards. So here I am just adding a little more of that beautiful bright neon yellow colour to the front, and that's that postcard done. I chose this orange because I think the back of this postcard had been orange, so I am just doing the same thing, adding some dots, making it a little more mixed media-ish for this postcard. Instead of using paint on this one, I grabbed out my Neo Color 2, just a broken Neo Color 2 water-soluble wax pastel that I had sitting on my desk, and added a few lines. These Neo Color 2s are my absolute #1 art supply that I have at the moment. I am obsessed with them and I use them all the time. They are so much fun, and so I was happy to just have this one sitting on my desk and could just, grab it out and use it. I really love that black mark on that postcard. I loved it so much that I brought it over to this final postcard here and added a little bit of black around the edge there that you can see. I also add some bright neon yellow dots because I felt like that neon yellow reminded me kind of the colour of a tennis ball, so I thought it worked for this tennis themed postcard. This is the end of the video, guys. I hope that you have enjoyed it. If you have, I would love it if you would leave a comment, like this video. It means so much to me. And as I said, this is a series, so if you've enjoyed this one and want to see some other ways of making DIY postcards, stick around because there are definitely several more ideas I've got coming up very, very soon. So keep your eyes peeled for those. I hope you guys have had a great day, and I will see you in my next video, guys. Bye!